delicate thing. You don't want to do it too early.
Right.
Okay, and we are recording and live streaming when it is time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Nicole. Okay, I'd like to call the Human Resources and Public Works Committee meeting to order. At this time, could the members identify their physical location, please?
Terry Hutchinson, reporting from my home in Nottawa Township, Isabella County.
Jim Horton from my principal residence in Union Township, Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
Jim Marino, reporting from my residence in Mount Pleasant, Isabella County. Okay, thank you. We'll call to the public. Any public?
There is no public at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Our next item, and our first item is consider accepting and placing on file the 2020 Isabella County Planning Commission Annual Report as presented. Mr. Neoport, could you take over, please?
Yeah, could I share my screen? I'll put the report up.
Sure.
Okay, good morning. I'm going to walk through the annual report of the Planning Commission here with you briefly. No, Commissioner Hutchinson, you haven't been through this before, so if you have any questions while I go through it, feel free to ask. I'm going to make this a little larger. So this is the annual report. It's been prepared by the County Planning Commission with the assistance of the Community Development Department. Page 2 just simply lays out the table of contents. Really the meat and potatoes of the document is right here in section 5. It kind of talks about all the activities that went on with regard to the Planning Commission. On page 3 under the introduction, basically this lays out the functions of the Planning Commission falling under the Planning Enabling Act and the Michigan Zoning Enabling Acts. And then points out right here in section 19 of the Planning Enabling Act where the requirement is for an annual report to the Board of Commissioners. In the annual report, we do include the membership for the year. So we've got the members here that were part of the Planning Commission for the year. Section 3, we include meetings. The meetings of the Planning Commission have been held or were held last year on the second Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. in room 225 is the typical area. Due to the COVID pandemic, we've been meeting via Zoom, I believe, since back in May. Planning Commission held 11 meetings, regular meetings, and 1 special meeting during the year. And just to clarify, Planning Commission has been meeting the second Thursday at 7 p.m. Since the 70s. I've been here for 24 years. We've always met that evening, and they've met that evening for quite some time. So section 4 kind of lays out Planning Commission responsibilities, and those begin with performing site plan reviews is a requirement of theirs based on the zoning ordinance, conducting public hearings and making decisions on special land use permits, conducting public hearings and making recommendations to the county board on text amendments to the ordinance, conducting public hearings and making recommendations to the board on zoning amendments, being rezonings or conditional rezoning requests. The responsibility is to maintain the county master plan. They also have a responsibility to review and make recommendations on township zoning ordinance requests. So if a township in the county is making an ordinance amendment, the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act requires that the Planning Commission review that as a reviewing agency. They also do the same as a reviewing agency on master plans, as well as PA 116 or farmland open space preservation. They are a review agency for the state of Michigan.
Boy, that really decreased this time, right? The PA 116.
Yeah, that's something I was going to talk about. It really, don't really know the reason, Jim, but it did quite a bit of a decrease from 2019. So here's where I talk about the activities of the Planning Commission, master plan reviews. The Planning Commission, as they have any amendments or special use permits, staff is always reviewing that and kind of reporting in a staff report to the Planning Commission if there's any issues with regard to the master plan. And if so, we keep kind of a laundry list of areas that we would need to review at time of review. With the 2020 census, the Planning Commission has just, we recommended to them, and in February, they did establish a committee to begin to look at maybe some amendments to the master plan. We're getting some word from the Census Bureau, though, that our numbers, not just our population numbers, but all of our numbers will be out close to the end of the year. So we may be holding off on that another year and seeking monies to hire basically a consulting firm to come in and maybe do a full-blown redo of the master plan. It's kind of sort of in debate. We're talking about it at the Planning Commission committee coming up. Site plan reviews. In 2020, we performed 19 total site plan reviews. 14 of them were conducted by the Planning Commission, and 5 of those were conducted by staff as administrative review. 5 of the ones that were, 5 of the permits that were reviewed by the Planning Commission were for the temporary anemometer towers as part of the wind energy project. I believe we're on the top of page 5 now. The graphic you see there, 14 is quite a few more than we've seen in the previous 4 years since 2016. The 5 as a staff review are probably pretty close to the average there over those 4 or 5 years. Special use permits, 8 special use permits were held or heard. Those include public hearings. As you can see, they're pretty consistent with the 5-year trend here, having 8 of them. Zoning amendments, there was some uniqueness here. We did only see 2 zoning amendments. Both of those were conditional rezonings recommended to the commission. And I think both were finally approved by the county board. It is a little bit down from the past couple of years, quite a bit down from the 16-17 time, but for those of you who've been here for a while, you know this, but for Commissioner Hutchinson, back in 16-17, the Planning Commission had quite a few amendments to sort of tighten up the language with regard to the wind energy project that was coming in. So there were some amendments made back then that were specific to wind energy to sort of tighten up our ordinance for the best protection to the community. Next, we looked at zoning amendments. We had a review of 4 zoning amendments throughout the year. All 4 of those were from Union Township. 2 of them were map amendments and 2 of those were text amendments. Again, the Planning Commission is required by statute to review any and all modifications to zoning ordinances for any of the townships in the county who have their own ordinance. Union did submit 4. 2 amendments were for text and 2 were for map, pretty consistent with the past 5 years. Master plan reviews, again, it was a responsibility to review those. City of Mount Pleasant back in March of 2020 submitted theirs for our review and comment. And as Commissioner Moreno had alluded, we did have only 4 farmland agreements in 3 different townships, Co-Lincoln and Fremont, for 147 acres, which was a significant decrease from 2019, where we had 33 applications for 2,024 acres. Don't really know the reasoning behind it. You know, PA 116 contracts are from anywhere from 10 years to 99 years. When they lapse or they expire, a lot of times we get them to roll back over and roll back in. I don't know if in 2019 we had you know, several farms that had several different sections or plats of land. that we're rolling back in or not, but that's quite a difference in the amount of acreage being put into 116 for the year. Now we're looking at just zoning permits. These are administrative permits. We had 134 zoning administrator permits in 2020. This was again appears to be significantly decreased from the previous year of 2020, but we did have 136 wind permits in 2019. So when you took the 136 wind permits out of there, the 134 was pretty consistent with the numbers we received in 2019. We did do the 5 administrative reviews, and we do see over 100 complaints per year. All of these numbers sort of do include the Co-Township intergovernmental agreement that we have with Co-Township to provide services to them. So those numbers sort of roll in. We don't do a lot of permits down there. We do go to, I think, 4 of their meetings per year, and we do receive a handful or a couple handfuls of complaints annually. Zoning Board of Appeals, they saw had 10 different applicants for 8 different variances, including 2 public essential service requests. It's a slight it was a slight increase over the 2019 numbers, which we saw only 7 variances in. We did do no training in 2020, primarily due to COVID. If we don't bring somebody in from the outside, sometimes staff will jump in and do some training or just kind of go over certain sections of the ordinance that are specific to Planning Commission members. A few years ago, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago now, we did some color coding to some very important sections that are basis for approval for Planning Commission members. In the 2021 goals, were established basically to maintain the county master plan. As I indicated earlier, they've established a subcommittee. We recommended that, and they did establish a subcommittee to look at the master plan kind of laundry list that we have. We may be recommending to them after review that we do hold off, since we can see that it appears, I think in September, we're going to have a pretty good idea of our census data and information on demographics that we're going to need, not just population, but the full bore of demographics. So we may hold off and do in 22 or 23 a full rewrite, or look at a full rewrite of the ordinance and not do just an amendment this year. We also make, we set a goal for them to continue to make recommendations to the county board where they feel amendments are needed. Again, this deals with the text amendments. As we review or we receive applications, one of their responsibilities is to do so. So we will ensure that they have the information to do so. The third goal of theirs is to continue to maintain the open lines of communications with the townships. Staff has a pretty good working relationship with most, if not all, of the 16 township supervisors and or a trustee. Sometimes on the board, we have more of a relationship with than the supervisor, but we do provide the information. As well, we have quite a few years ago established an agenda item for townships. If they have concerns, they can come right to the Planning Commission meetings, or send someone or send a message through to staff of their concerns in their township. So we've opened up a slot there that helps maintain that open line of communication with the townships. And then the last goal for the year is to take a look at the bylaws, and they have established a subcommittee. The Planning Commission established a subcommittee at their February meeting to do a bylaw review. There were some areas within the bylaws specific to our agenda. For example, this information above where we give township concerns, I do not believe that's in the bylaws. And so we'll just be taking a quick look at that this year and making some recommendations out of subcommittee back to the full commission for modifications to the bylaws. But that's all I have from the annual report. I don't know if anybody has any questions. It's an 8-page report. It's pretty similar, looks pretty similar with regard to the information provided on an annual basis. But that is the report for 2020.
Thank you, Tim. Does anybody have any questions or comments or concerns or anything at this time? If that's the case, could could we entertain a motion to accept and place on file the report, please?
Make a motion to consider accepting and planning on file the 2020 Isabel County Planning Commission Annual Report as presented.
Support. It's been moved and supported to place this on our agenda for the work and regular session of the county commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye, Horton.
Opposed, the same. The motion carries. The item will be forwarded to the regular commission meetings next week. Thank you, Mr.
Yep, thank you guys very much.
Okay. Looks like we've been seeing this item quite a bit over the weeks. Item 5 is consider approving the temporary right-of-way easement agreement between William D. Whitehead and Nancy J. Whitehead in Isabella County for access to Meridian Park and authorize the board chair to sign the same. What do we have this morning, Sue Ann?
Over the last year or the few years, it looks like 1979, we've, owned Meridian Park, and we have a little section that we found that was on the Whitehead Farm property. And it's one of our trails that leads back to the northeast section of the park. So this is, in talking with the owner, Bill Whitehead, it was just, he asked if we could put together an easement, a temporary easement just for the liability of people crossing on his property, this little section of trail, to have this agreement put together. So after much review, and you are seeing the copy or the final copy of the temporary easement that was put together by our legal counsel. And it's an annual agreement, so it's from year to year. And it's a little bump out area that's by a ravine that it's really steep where on our property, and it gets very marshy. So for us to go a little bit on the high ground, it will continue the trail that goes back to the northeast section of the park.
Any questions or concerns or comments? Mr. Chair?
I think Margaret and I talked about this. I can't remember though. So Sue-Ann, I'll ask you, why doesn't the county just buy this instead of having an easement? What is, I don't know if it was estate planning with the Whiteheads or whatever, but why wouldn't the county just purchase this instead of doing easements?
We're looking into doing that. I mean, we've known that this was on their property for a while, but at this time, this is what Mr. Whitehead would like to do. Just to maybe to consider other options for the year. I mean, I've been in conversation with them for quite some time, so that's why we're looking at just the 1 year agreement at this time.
Keeping options open, huh?
Yes. Well, recently they just sold part of the farm, so there's some stuff happening over there. So I think he has some other things that he has it in order of how he would like to do stuff. So
Got it.
Okay.
And we've got a good relationship with the Whiteheads.
oh yes,
Sue Ann?
yes.
Okay, if we don't have any more input, consider, could we entertain a motion on this item, please?
Yep, make a motion to consider approving the temporary right-of-way easement agreement between William D. Whitehead and Nancy J. Whitehead in Isabel County for access to Meridian Park, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support. It's been moved and supported to consider approving the temporary right-of-way easement agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The motion carries. The item will be moved to the regular schedule. Tim, I have one question for you.
Sure.
How did that sawmill thing go? Have you had any more feedback on that? One that all the lawyers were involved and people got hopped up and
Yeah, we have not
there was
heard,
all these weird things going on.
yeah, we have not heard anything with regard to the sawmill since its approval. So I don't know if the neighbors are just, working together. I'm not sure what the issue is, but it seems to have quieted down on our front.
Great, that sounds good. Anybody else here have anything? Mr. Chair.
This was Sue Ann. Any word on Mr. Fisher's property? Any, have you heard anything from the family? Any movement on that?
We've not heard anything. Margaret and I have talked a little bit, and I think there might be future information that we could provide.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's unfortunate about Mr. Fisher, but the family, they're a local family too, so hopefully that won't be any issues, I don't think so. Okay, thank you. I need more coffee this morning or something. I don't know what it is this morning. I'm just like, I'm just sitting back here, nice comfortable chair, and Jim's doing a great job. Jim's doing a great job leading. I'm just like, kicking on for the ride here. So this is kind of nice.
It's a gloomy day. Takes a little while to get going on a gloomy day.
Does.
It is. So I'm all on. Thank you, Jim.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to call to the public. Has any public joined, Nicole?
There is no public that is joined at this time, Mr. Chairman.
In that case, I will adjourn the meeting and wish you all a safe and productive morning and day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good luck on your shot, Jim.
Nice to
Good
meet you,
Good luck on
Jim.
your shot, Jim. Take care.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioner Hutchinson. It was nice to meet you as well.
Oh, is this your first time?
See you.
This is my first time meeting Commissioner Hutchinson. Yes, I haven't been in
Yes.
front of the commission since this
Wonderful.
year yet. So.
Oh, Terry, you don't know what you're getting yourself in for.
Thanks, Commissioner Horton. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So long,
Hang in
everybody.
there.
Thanks. Goodbye,
Bye.
everybody. Have a great rest of your week.
You too.